Hello and welcome to episode 3 of NZGator's Stroke Recovery, Rants and Ravings. I'm Mark Fields, New Zealand Gator, at NZGator on Instagram. I thought I mentioned some tools that I've gotten to help me out, and I thought I'd show a couple of those to you and just what I use them for and how they work. First thing, I've shown this before on different places, is my handy dandy robotic glove. They like to call it robotic. It's not really robotic. It's run on the air compressor, little pneumatic compressor that comes with it, and it does have a remote control that you can just start and stop it. Basically, that you wear in a glove on your other hand. I usually don't bother with it. It's not exactly helpful for my certain condition. You see on this though, it has a hose, and that is hooked up to a little manifold there, and each manifold has shut-off valves, and you can isolate each finger if you want, or you can isolate them all. I do it quite often is get it so it's straight, shut them all off, turn the compressor off, and just leave it like that so it holds my hand nice and straight. But what it does, what I was having was trouble with my fingers starting to swell, not getting the movement to move that the fluid around the joints, and it was just having to wear a compression glove trying to keep the swelling down. And I thought, well, I saw this, so I thought, we'll give that a shot. I bought one off of Dick Smith. And then I found they're actually about a third of the price on AliExpress for exactly the same glove. So yeah, so I got one for in the house and one for out here in the swamp. And what they do is you turn on the compressor, and the glove opens, and then it just closes. And that's moving my knuckles around, pumping that fluid in and out. And you can adjust the speed, adjust the strength. And there it goes closed, opens up back up. My fingers are pretty stiff today. Get her all back open and getting that movement. That's the one thing with my stage of stroke recovery is I have plenty of feeling, but I've lost the movement, the brain to muscle connection to make everything go. And so once or twice a day, I'll run it for about 30 minutes and sit out here in what I call my swamp. It's my man cave, my office, and let it run and just try to keep it moving, and hopefully thinking that my brain's feeling that going back and forth, and it's saying, "Oh, there is a hand there. We need to reconnect to that." So that's the old handy dandy. It's actually just a recovery tool, recovery glove, and that's just one thing I use every day. One thing they started me at the hospital because not having that muscle, that control up through here, and my arm just hangs because there's nothing to keep to control that, pulling it up. So what the occupational therapist in the hospital set me up with this, and what it is, it's an EMS TENS machine, muscular stimulation, electromuscular stimulator. And what we do is one under the shoulder joint over here, and then the joys of having only one hand that works, and then the other one on the back, just below the trapezius muscle. And then what you do is you turn it on. As I mentioned before, yeah, my eyesight's failing, so you got to kind of hold it up here, and you adjust the intensity of the electrical current going through them. And and that's what happens is it contracts the muscle, pulls the shoulder up, runs for about 10 seconds. I said 10 seconds, and then it releases that electrical stimulation, and your shoulder goes back down. And so this tenses this muscle group up, and it exercises it by contracting and releasing, and it'll do that for this particular machine is set up for 40 minutes, and it runs for 10 seconds, and then it goes off for 11 seconds. It has to go off for more time than it was on by at least 1 second. So it goes off for 11 seconds, and I'll actually sit in the chair in the hospital, or lay in the hospital bed, trying to relax or watch television or whatever I can do, and just let it run. And sometimes I'd run it for an hour and a half. Just when it goes off, just start it back up, just to keep that going. Otherwise, that whole joint can, the muscles get so weak, they don't hold up, and they'll start to stretch. And you'll notice that there's just like a belly or a flat spot in there where my shoulder is pretty good, pretty normal. But through the top part here, that's called subluxation, and it'll drop, and then it's a lot of work to get everything back right. So one of the things that the OT, the occupational therapist, set me up with was this. And first time she had used it, and first question was, as always, does it hurt? Well, no, it doesn't hurt. It just, you feel it. As long as you have them set right, it's like a vibration. So it's vibrating, it pulls up, and then it goes back down. The muscles get worked out, they get stronger, and I firmly believe that this is the whole reason my shoulder just hasn't separated, and my arms doesn't have to be in a sling, because that's still strong. And I've got enough that even without that, I can pick my arm up now, which is a lot more than what I could do 5 months ago after I first had my stroke. Because right now I'm in my fifth month of stroke recovery. So that's what this type of EMS machine does. The pads, they get to the point they don't like to stick very much or whatever. They give you a little ultrasound gel to help. It's a conductive gel to help conduct electricity better. Just gotta wash it off so you don't get irritated. And also I've used these on my forearm to put them here and here, because my wrist won't come up on its own, and it'll bring the wrist up like this, hold it in place, and then let it go back down. What I find though is if I get that one wrong, the intensity too high, it bloody hurts. The tendons in here will tighten up too much, and you really, really feel it. I use it on my leg, and set it so that it raises my foot up, because I have that drop toe, just to get that used to feeling to coming up. And I believe it helps, but like everything with stroke recovery, it takes a long time. And things go through constant changes. So let me turn that off. If you grab those pads before you turn it off, then you know whether or not it hurts. It'll shock you to that snot right out of you. part of my fun right now with these is the plastic storage sheets that you put these on are clear, and my sight's about shot, so it just makes it fun. Now, with that, when the hospitals loan me that, I'm gonna have to give it back. But what I did was I found out that the local Dick Smith, they carry an EMS TENS machine also, and this is pretty good. It has I think 57 pre-programmed programs in it, and those are for different parts of your body. They give you a booklet with suggested places to put it and things like that. I'm gonna just put it on my bicep and show you how it works. So my biceps are there. It's just, once again, they don't get the contact from the brain that tells them to move. I'm getting movement in my biceps now, but not enough to say that it's recovered. It's just I can raise my hand, and every day I do at least 2 sets of 5 bicep curls. So the thing to do is you set them up at the top and the bottom of the muscle. We'll turn her on. It's all set up on a program already, and we'll set the intensity. This runs for 30 minutes every time you run it. So I'll just set this up, and you'll see how it works. There we go. So I run this is a 30 intensity, and what it does is it's running a current from there to there, and telling my muscle to contract. Yep, there you go. You can see that the way it moves. So I'll sit there and run this, and this runs to a program that's pre-programmed in there, where it'll go with a heavy contraction for a while, like what it's doing now. And these you have to, usually I put a sleeve over this, and keeps them in place. You can tape them on, because after a while they get a little bit lacking in their adhesive. There again, AliExpress. I bought 50 spares, and going through those. But so that's more of a massaging the muscle, and then it'll change again, and then it'll go back to the program where it's tensing the muscle. So all of that is because my brain isn't talking to my muscles very well right now. It's got to rebuild those pathways, that neuroplasticity, and my muscles need to do something instead of just sitting there wasting away. So they're getting a bit of a workout, and also the brain's sensing that there's something going on, and hey, I gotta get back over there and get in contact with those muscles again. I'll run this on my bicep, my tricep, the top of my forearm, and the underside of my forearm. And I have run it on my calf and on my hamstring that are also weak, that I'm trying to get kicking back in. So there's a couple of tools that I'm using. You know, I'm a gadget guy. I love the gadgets. I'll tell you that where I work. And these weren't expensive. From Noel Lemming, the EMS TENS machine, $149 I think well worth it to if it helps recovery. It's worth it. I have to give the one back to the hospital. The gloves from Dick Smith, a pair of them runs about $142. The single glove setup from AliExpress, it runs you about $60, $70 delivered. So and it's just pretty cool. The glove is when you sit there and you look at your hands, like my fingers are still just slightly swollen, but they're not half as bad. And my hand was quite puffy. So between wearing a compression glove and then using that to work out the hand and move the fluid around, it's really helped to clear that fluid out. And mind you, I still have to, it's not getting that contact with the brain that it needs to tell it what to do, but it's certainly helping out, because now the brain's saying, oh, there's something there. I got to get there. What the traditional way is either tapping, like to have that tactile response for your brain to say, oh, there's something there. And that's one of the things they'll tell you in your recovery, tapping, or hairbrush, lightly tapping with a hairbrush is another one. But this does basically the same thing by sitting there and telling it what to do. And not so much a matter of being lazy, but it's something that I can do and just sit it there and let it go, and it does its job. So yeah. So those are my gadgets. I'll just turn that one off, or else my arm will sit there and flop around. If you get it, what it does varies from where you locate the pads. Sometimes you get the pads just right, and like my bicep will jump. It'll jump across. If it's sitting on the arm of the couch, it'll jump off the couch, and I'm like, well, I got that one in the right place. And sometimes it just like it was doing there, it sits there and it just quietly does its job, and it starts to make improvements. I don't know if it'll do it now, but if you can see that, that raise of my wrist, while it's not much, it's a lot more than what it was doing last week. And I put that down to getting the work in, and then I can't tell you how many times a day I sit there and just try to will my hand to move, or my thumb, my fingers. You just sit there, and there we go. And people who have had a stroke will tell you, you sit there and you will a piece of your body to move. Whether it's your foot, I can raise my foot a little bit, which helps when I walk, because I don't drag my toe quite as bad as I did. And yeah, I can. Sometimes your limb has to be laying just the right way. My thumb, I won't move it there. If I'm laying down and my arm is stretched out, I can move my thumb. I can move a couple of my fingers, but it's just a matter of the way the gravity acts on it, the way the muscles are stretched out. It's just that it's in the ideal situation for it to do its movement that way. Yeah. So that's my recovery tips for today. Today's rant. Yeah, I can't have a rant every day, but I guess one thing that I found being in AT&R, it's a brand new building. I think it's 2 years old at the hospital in Timaru, but they made quite a few mistakes in the design, and in the materials that they use. And I found it quite disappointing, actually, being a building inspector. somebody that examines plans and says where the buildings comply. There's just design failures in that building, and some of the materials they use. The windows. There's no opening windows in any of the rooms, so you're just reliant on mechanical ventilation the whole time, and this design is off. They have the makeup air, which is fresh air that comes in from outside, sucked in, and they have the exhaust air, the air that blows into the building rather, on the same side of the room, which in theory they should be on opposite sides of the room, so they pull the air down and across, but these don't work that way. The windows, the frames of the windows are aluminum or aluminium, if being from down under, and they're not thermally broken, so the cold metal that's on the outside just continues on to the inside, and you can just feel the cold radiate off of them. So yeah, just some design flaws, probably things they did just to save money. But that, bit of a rant there. I'd lay in bed and I could just feel the cold coming off the window. It just didn't make sense to me. But today's ravings are for my tools. Anything that I can get to improve myself and get me moving faster, I'm all for it. If I could get the government to buy all of them for me, it would be better. I think if you're working on your recovery, investigate, what tools there are for you, and ask around, talk to people. I've talked to my physiotherapist about these, and she's quite fine with them. It was just like, if it works, good. As long as it doesn't hurt, good. As long as if it doesn't set you back, great. Go ahead and use them. So I'll be using these until I'm recovered, which is a long time, but we'll get there. Because always keeping that positive attitude, as hard as it is, just to keep yourself moving forward. So just don't give up. Never give up. Remember that. So that's it for me for this episode 3. If you want to get in touch, NZGator podcast at gmail.com, at NZGator on Instagram, and check out my reels on Instagram. We have some good reels. I have a couple of reels on there of the walking, getting up and down stairs, and things like that. Go ahead and have a chat. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time.